Hi, we're in the book of Revelations of St. John the Divine, chapter 6, verses 1 through 17. And it reads, And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And when I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth, conquering and to conquer. And when he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And when there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see, thou hurt not the oil in the wine. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars again, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? So this is chapter 6 of the book of Revelation, verses 1 through 17. And we're going to cover verse 1 of chapter 6. Where John said, and this is what John said in verse 1. And I, John, talking about John, saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals. And I heard, John, this is John talking, as it were the noise of thunder of the fourth beast, that means the living creatures, four living creatures, saying, is one of the four living creatures saying, that's what it really is when it says beast here, come and see. So he's giving John an invitation to see. Verse 2, chapter 6. And I saw, and behold, remember behold is like, there's an exclamation on that, a white horse. This is what John looking at, like that. And he that sat on him had a bow like you use in a bow and arrow. Bow and arrow, yeah, that bow. And a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. So his job was to go conquer, to battle. It was when you are victorious, when you having to conquer a battle. So he's conquering. He's went forth conquering and to conquer. So he went about him losing not all the time. He's going to be always victorious in his conquering. You wonder what? Just keep reading. We're going to keep reading. You'll find out where. And when he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." That was verse 3. Verse 4, and there went out another horse that was red. Apparently it was fiery red. Must have been a sight to see in the eyes of anybody. And power was given, you got authority to do, given to him that sat thereon to take peace, to take a peace of mind, of the minds, the peace of minds of folks from the earth. And they see what happens when you take the peace, and they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. This sword is a great fighting sword. So they're going to have war. They're going to be fighting each other. It wasn't biased and say what countries. It said from the earth. So all the countries will be included. All the cities, the locals, and all of that, counties and states, and all of that is going to be, that's included there. Verse 5, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard, John talking about, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And this was John. And I beheld, John beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. So history-wise, the balance is a symbol of justice and fair dealings. But this expression would be showing that a lack of shortage, as we read on. Supplies. Going to be pretty bad. You'll see what I'm saying in verse 6. And I heard, John said, and I heard with his ears a voice in the midst of the four living creatures, the four beasts, say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Most people don't eat barley today. That stuff is coursey. We eat meat, wheat, but barley, very few people, maybe Jewish and other folks eat that, but most people where I'm from don't eat barley. So now it's going to be down to that. And it goes on. And see, we're still in verse 6. And see you, it said thou, see you hurt not the oil and the wine. You can harm everything else, but not the oil and the wine. Verse 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." Verse 8. That was verse 7. Let me look at that. Yes, verse 7. That was verse 7 when you just covered. And I, talking about John, looked, he proceeded, wherever he proceeded, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed him. Hell is like an unseen state. When people die, they call it hell, that part of hell. But there's another hell. It's different than the hell that when you die and go to an unseen state. Some say it's the same thing. It's not. And hell followed him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. So the fourth part of the earth, they got power to do what? To kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the field. Now these beasts are not the same beasts that we speaking of earlier, the living creatures. These are wild animals of the earth that's going to eat up people, that's going to kill people. War is going to kill people. Famine's going to kill people. People just going to die. You know what I mean? So that's the pale horse right there. I know some religious people that have nothing to do with Jesus Christ trying to say something else. It's not saying that. Anyway, if that happened, if that in that time when that does happen, and it's 8 billion people like we have now, according to the population that we have now today, as I'm speaking, it's 8 billion people. It used to be 7. Now it's 8 billion people. So fourth part of that would be 2 billion killed. Ooh. By all of those conditions, those issues. Verse 9, chapter 6. When he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar. So he looked underneath. That's what it is. The altar. The altar is a place of sacrifice. So he saw under the altar the souls of them, not in the flesh. Some people, I don't know what they're going. They're dead. They had gotten slain. So all he saw is the souls. He was able to see that, which we're not able to see those things like that unless the Lord give you the power, the ability, to see those things like he did John. The souls of them that were slain, slaughtered, butchered, murdered, killed for the word of God. Why? For the word of God. They were killed for the word of God. And guess what else? And for the testimonies which they held, they kept it. But there are always rewards for something, whatever you do, good or bad. Let's move on. And they cried, those ones that were slain, the souls, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost do you, in the regular English, it said dost you, thou, do you not judge and avenge? That avenge means to have full justice. What happened to him? Our blood on them that dwell, that live on the earth. That was a question. And it goes on, verse 11. And white robes were given unto every one of them. The ones that were slain, the ones that for the word of God and for the testimonies that they held, they were giving white robes, long garments, white garments, were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, for a little season, until their fellow chill out, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed, they're going to kill them as they were, and should be fulfilled. When that happened, chill out. You good. Verse 12. Just wait a while. I preached a sermon, wait a while, when I was just starting out as a called from Jesus Christ minister, not just say I want to preach. Anyway, let's go on. Verse 10. And when I, John, beheld, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there you go with that lo, there was a great earthquake. He could see the earthquake. God had given him the vision to see the earthquake. Great earthquake. And it said, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair. Now, if you know anything about astronomy, don't go into that. Just move on. And but I would say the sackcloth of hair they used to wear, and that was a time of sadness and mourning. They used to put that on. It was very uncomfortable. It came from a goat's hair, most likely. And if you've seen the goat's hair, black hair, it is coarsey and it's uncomfortable. And then it said, and the moon became as blood. There's science behind that as well. But just keep that in mind. Keep that in your heart. None of this stuff has happened yet that you just heard. It may feel like it, but none of it. Hunger has increased by 10% in this world, but it hasn't gotten to a fourth yet. Verse 13, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth. That hasn't happened yet. And look how it's going to be massive stars, meteors falling. Listen to what he said, John said. Even as a fig tree casts through her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind, a very powerful wind. So of course, it means that untimely means that it was premature that the figs were dropped. Just because of the mighty wind has caused that to do that. It would be premature. Before its time. And verse 14. In the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. You ever seen in the movies when in the olden days when they make an announcement and they roll that scroll out, and then when they're done they let it pop together? That's how the heaven's going to do. Roll. It said, and when it rolled together, in every mountain, this is what's going to happen to the mountain, and islands will move out of place. So the mountain and island is going to move out of place. The heaven is going to depart as a scroll. But the mountain islands is going to be moved. The mountain and every mountain and island were moved out of their place. Wow, he saw all of that. And verse 15, chapter 6, and the kings of the earth, keep that in mind, the great men, the rich men, the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every free man and bondsman, so every bondsman is said, and every free man hid themselves in the dens, in the caves, in the rocks of the mountain. Now these are all of these mighty folks, great, powerful political power, powerful folks, rich folks, and still, these are not even common people. These are people way up in everything, and dealings. Listen what they did, verse 16. And said to the mountains in the rocks. All of a sudden, they start talking to the mountains and the rocks. And guess what they said? Fall on us. And you know, if the mountains, the rocks of the mountains and the mountains fall on somebody, it's going to kill them. And hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. They got revelation. All these great people talk about all of that, the kings and the great men and the rich men and the captains and the mighty men and every bondsman, every slave and every free man wanted this stuff to happen to them from the wrath of the Lamb. It said that sitteth in from the face of him that sits on the throne, and also look at this parallel, from the wrath of the Lamb. So listen to this last one, verse 17. For the great day of his wrath, his extreme anger, is come. And who shall be able, who would have the power to stand, to remain? It makes you nervous, because I'm glad I'm not those folks. I'm glad I only want to be the one with the white robes on. And I want to be the ones that they'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for them. Waiting for the other people. I want to be written in the book of life. You should be one to be written in the book of life. You shouldn't be going against the Christians. When you go against the Christians, you're going to pay for that. So let's stay tuned for chapter 7, if the Lord's willing. The Lord keeps my mortal body, healthy mortal body for now. So I love you, and I'll see you later.